So earlier this morning, Joe Varden, friend of the program who writes for The Athletic, wrote an article saying the Cavs are showing interest in Nets small forward Cam Johnson to address some of the perimeter struggles. Kenny Atkinson, in the aftermath of last night's loss, was asked if it was a fair assessment that the longer, more athletic teams on the wing have given the Cavs an issue, and his response was, yeah, that's a fair assessment. No surprise this morning, the rumors about the Cavs showing significant interest in Cam Johnson popped up. In your guys' opinion, is Cam Johnson the right fit for the Cavs? And part two of that, do they have enough assets to acquire Cam?
Well, you know the answer to this, Mikey. I don't know why you even said that. You don't set us up with this two-part question. You know good and well. The first part is absolutely true. Cam Johnson fits perfectly with this roster. We
talked about him a month ago.
Salivating over him all last summer. But as you also know, Mr. McNuggets, you ain't got no money. Well, you do got the money. They're willing to not go into the luxury tax to do it for 2 years. But they are over. So if they want to stay over and go make this deal, by all means. But the problem is, you got Minimowski. You ain't got no picks. You got these twos. You can't trade a first round pick to like 2050 or something. And who you moving? Like who you moving? Like, do they want a Coro, Niang, and a couple twos? Like, that ain't gonna get it done. Why would they make that deal if you're the Nets?
Are you asking me? Yeah, no,
I agree with everything he said.
I'm in total agreement. Cam Johnson was a guy we mentioned
before
the season.
How do you get him?
As a perfect fit. I was working with the trade machine this morning. There's so first off, the Nets, and remember the whole first apron, second apron, luxury tax component of any NBA deals. The Nets' salary as a team is way higher than you would expect because they have Ben Simmons, who signed that massive contract. So the Nets currently are right on the fringe of the first apron, which complicates any kind of deal. The money essentially has to be pretty equal. So you could put together a package of Okoro and Niang and a bunch of second-round picks. Is that enough to get Cam Johnson? I personally do not think so. You could put Jalen Tyson and Karis LeVert together with those second-round picks. I don't think that's enough, especially when there are other teams who could covet the skill set of Cam Johnson that have first-round picks in the next 5 years to trade that Cleveland simply does not.
And here's the thing. They love Max Strus. They love, anytime you say Max Strus, the Cleveland Cavaliers organization is like, listen, we brought him in to be a starter. We love him, and we're not moving. They love Max Strus. He makes a bunch of money. Niang makes some money. Okoro makes some money. But the reality of it is, if you're the Nets or you're rebuilding, why are those valuable package pieces?
I don't know that they are.
Why would you? Why? And it doesn't look like the Cavs have the stomach to trade Strus. Am I wrong about my feelings about Strus?
In terms of,
the Cavs thought the Cavs love him.
They love him.
They gave him the biggest free agent contract they've ever given out for a guy not named LeBron James.
Yeah, so they're not moving him.
Clearly covet him, and he does have NBA Finals experience that no one else on the roster has, which I think they covet as well. Strus could be part of the deal, but if you're the Nets and you're in a rebuilding situation,
why?
I just don't see.
What does he do for the Nets?
It was funny. So last night, my mentions after the game were just a cluster. If anyone goes on Twitter, you know how that gets to. And people were trying to blame a 30-point loss on George Niang and Max Strus. And they certainly did not play well. But, that was not – Max Strus was not the reason they lost that game by 30.
No.
And then this morning, those same people are like, let's trade Okoro, Niang, and Strus to Brooklyn. So you guys just told me that these guys can't play, but now you're going to – those are the pieces
you're going to try to tell somebody else they can.
Yeah, so it's just a funny it's funny how quickly some thoughts change on guys.
Dustin, what are your thoughts? I just don't see how they make that work.
Yeah,
I'd love it to happen.
I'm not the best to talk about how to make a contract work in the trade in the NBA because it is like brain surgery to me, and that whole deal. But I mean, he's a fit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he fits great. He fits great.
Coach knows him. Like, he, by all accounts, a good dude in the locker room. Like, I'm all for it if you can get it done.
Right. Look. I think everybody would be willing to say, are we willing to say anybody besides the core four is available?
In the article that Joe wrote this morning, he said the Cavs have no interest in breaking up the core four. So I would take that as those four off the table.
Oh, well, that's a given. I mean,
anybody else is good to go.
Guess what they're going to want? They're going to want a piece.
All right.
Picks.
So let's.
Well, we don't have. I mean,
And once again, that gets back to the issue.
that takes it off the table right there.
So here's what I want, McNuggets.
What if we do a three-way, Mike?
There you go.
Well, that's where it gets
well,
interesting.
pause. Me and Jay doing a three-way is disturbing.
I meant trade.
You're talking about Skyline Chili.
Yeah. That's wild.
Oh, that was a good one. That's on the Pause Hall of Fame.
It is, right? Book it, Steve.
All right, let's do a three-team deal.
Yeah, three-team
How's
deal.
that?
Yeah.
Because now you can find a team that has the picks that you can give something to them that they want. They can give the picks to Brooklyn. We get the piece we need. That's why those trades exist.
And who would be willing to give up? That's a third party
OKC.
that has some picks.
How
but
many
would love-
picks do these guys have?
That's
12 in the next 5 years.
They got 5
They
first-round
have
picks
5
next year.
this year.
For this year.
Oh, I thought I read 5 somewhere.
For this year.
And what's
That's
the
insane.
What's the potentially the highest one?
Give me a sec. I mean, a lot of them are protected and roll over, but hold on.
That's 4 first round.
But you know what? If I'm OKC, I would look at that deal and say, why would I make the team that could beat us better?
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, Cam Johnson fits great in OKC too.
Yeah, they'd probably say we want Cam Johnson
they
too.
fit great in OKC. Yeah. So like,
That's
my whole
bro-
thing with Cam
oh.
Johnson,
There
he'd
are
be a-
other teams that are
He'd be
interested.
a perfect fit in Cleveland. I am not. Or he'd be an incredible fit alongside this roster. He's on a great contract. He brings 3-point shooting. I was looking up his percentiles. He's the 92 percentile on corner threes, which fits right in the Cavs. He's an 87% overall percentile for all 3-point shots.
Wow.
He's in the 77th percentile for perimeter defense. Like, he's a perfect fit. I just don't know how the Cavs can put together a package that some other team couldn't outbid.
Yeah.
Like, let me just ask you straight up, Cam Johnson or whoever, if you're the team receiving the assets, and Dustin, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll all agree here. Would you rather have a Koro, Niang, Endor, Levert, and Tyson and a bunch of seconds, or 2 first-round picks?
2 first-round picks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
give
there
me
are
the
a ton
latter,
of teams
too.
in basketball that can offer
Yeah.
more picks. That is a higher.
Well, that's
trade
why you
value
bring in the
package.
third team.
But here-
But who still wants? And I don't mean to disparage anyone on the Cavs, but like, if you're giving up a first-round pick to Brooklyn, that means you're essentially trading a first-round pick for the Cavs guys.
like, could you find a team?
You see what I'm saying?
Could you
Yeah.
find a team like, I don't know, Atlanta? A team like somebody that's a couple of pieces away. That
Well, it wouldn't be an Eastern Conference team who's going to facilitate a 3-team trade to get Cam Johnson.
I can't imagine
No.
it would be either, but
Cleveland.
you can also take OKC out in the West. I don't think they're going to do it either, especially with a player that they'd love to have as well.
maybe, I don't know. What about a team like, I don't know, Dallas or
He'd be a great fit in Dallas. Like Cam Johnson would fit on every team in the
See,
NBA.
it's always
He's
a
got
wrap.
that 6'8", 6'9", can shoot threes at a high rate. I mean, it's a coveted asset.
I think it's got to be a team that's sitting on a lot of draft picks. By the way, if I'm OKC, I'm doing something with those picks. I'm not making all of those
F
picks.
those picks.
Yeah, them picks
At
is
some point, you run out of
here.
roster spots.
You're not
think
playing
they're
for
wait-
Oklahoma City. They still got Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein not playing.
I know.
Where you getting minutes from?
I mean, it's kind of scary when you think about it going forward. They've got the thing in place right now. I think the Cavs do too, but I think OKC more because of their picks. They're kind of set up for a dynastic run here.
We did this the other day, but the Cavs, and you weren't here the day after the first matchup.
Oh, yeah,
the
I
Cavs
don't remember
and the
talking.
Thunder and the Thunder ahead of the Cavs, but they are set up better than any team in the NBA
For not just
sustained
this year, but-
success
yes.
in this new era of the Cavs.
Agreed.
So OKC's picks they have in 2025, they have the lower of the Houston and Clippers, so that's a mid-round first.
Mid.
They have Utah's protected top 10 first, so they won't get that this year because Utah is terrible. They'll be in the top 10. They have their own first, and they have Philadelphia's protected 1 through 6. So
That one's probably the best pick
Philly might end up being the best. That could be it'll be a lottery pick if they
because
don't
their
make the
pick's going to
playoffs.
be
Man,
late.
they
first
could
round.
take them picks, and they
You could get a real piece.
You could get a real.
You could get a real piece.
nice, like borderline.
Now the question is, who's going to want to voluntarily want to go to Oklahoma City?
Well, if you're winning and if they're
Well,
showing
they were
could be a
winning when
dynasty.
Durant wanted out. They were winning when Westbrook wanted out. They were winning when Harden wanted out. It's Oklahoma City, and I told you I've been
fair.
there.
Fair.
And when I tell you there's a steakhouse, a men's clothing store, and the arena downtown, I'm not exaggerating. Like it is.
There's nothing.
No, there is. It is. Is it the NBA's smallest market?
Is it bigger than Milwaukee?
I think it
Milwaukee
is.
bigger?
I think it is. I mean,
Yeah, they've got
Milwaukee,
other teams.
Yeah, they've got other teams. Milwaukee has the Brewers. They have, Green Bay is in proximity.
I'll look up the TV markets. I'll find it out.
I think it's like low 40s, maybe 47th market. It feels to me like it's the smallest market in the NBA.
Yeah.
Would you guys make of LeBron James saying we?
With the Cavs?
Yeah.
I think he's always going to refer to the Cavs
Yeah.
as we.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I thought you
Memphis
can take
is
the
small,
Cavs,
Jay.
you can take
He's
the
taking
boy off the
ownership of
Cavs,
the
but
Cavs.
you can't take the Cavs
It's
out
his-
of the board.
it's his baby.
It's his team. He's
Yeah.
proud. He's talked about how proud he is of them and how they're going to do great things this year. This is a current player in the league that has a championship aspirations.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I actually believe him. As crazy as that sounds, because he says a lot of things I don't believe.
Yeah.
But I do think he genuinely has a rooting interest in this team having success, because I do think he genuinely likes Northeast Ohio.
I agree.
And he's taking ownership of, like, hey, he said this, like, of course he told us that. He's like, I started this thing, got the train rolling, whatever, and now the guys are going to take off and go, which is what I think we're seeing.
Yeah.
But in terms of him liking the Cavs, yeah, I think he's 40 years old, man. Like, he's not coming back to the Cavs anymore. Like, take ownership of what he
you built.
did. Yes, he built a lot here in Cleveland.
Hey, McNuggets, let me ask you about this one dude.
Shoot.
Is Bradley Beal washed?
Yeah.
I would not. For A, he has a no trade clause, and
wouldn't
B,
do
I
it.
wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
I wouldn't do
He
it either.
seems like a kind of a toxic player to have in the
washed.
building.
Yeah. Jay, to answer your question for Super Chats, Memphis and New Orleans are technically the two smallest TV markets, but we're talking 51, 50, and 47. So
Yeah.
those three in
they're-
the same cluster.